going here.
Okay. All right. I see Harold Easley, North Carolina. How's it going, Harold? James Jarman. Where are you from, James? Let us know where you're from. And while we're waiting, guys, about to start in a couple seconds here, just put in the chat box what you're hoping to learn. What are you guys hoping to learn tonight? And we'll make sure we touch on that. All right, well, let's go ahead and get started, Benson.
Let's do
Cool.
it.
So I'll go ahead and kick it off. So for everyone who doesn't know, my name is Dedric Polite, real estate investor. My wife, my lovely wife, would have been here, but she's under the weather right now. So I'm holding down the fort for the two of us. But we're real estate investors based here in North Carolina. We do everything from wholesaling. We own quite a few rental properties from single family.
We lost you, Dedric. We lost you. Um, for those of you who don't know Dedric, I figured since he couldn't put his
Can you hear
camera
me?
on, you're back, bro.
Yes. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with internet. I might go use my phone's internet in a second here.
Yeah, man, technology, that's how it works sometimes. But since we don't have your camera here, I'm sharing your A&E landing page so you can see you and Krystal and the crew.
Oh, cool, cool. Thank you. So yeah, where I was at on the intro is we're real estate investors. We do wholesaling, we flip houses, we own quite a few rental properties. We also do Airbnbs. And what we're here to talk about tonight though is a software that we started using a few months ago that's really helped us in our business. So my motto is in God we trust, all others bring data. And it's really about, how do you use data to make smarter decisions and close more deals as a real estate investor. Okay. So I'm going to talk for a few minutes about our experience with Privy, what we've been able to do using the software. Then I'm going to hand it over to Benson, and he's going to show us some training and some demo on how some power users use the software. And again, you guys can you'll have a little Q&A at the end, and then we'll wrap it up.
Awesome. Sounds good. How are you guys using it right now? Dedric, are you there, bud?
Hello.
Are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, I lost you there for a second.
Okay. Here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna try to use my Wi-Fi from my phone now.
Okay.
We're gonna go the phone Wi-Fi, see if that works better. Sorry about these technical difficulties.
Oh, this happens. I appreciate everybody's patience here. We'll get this worked out for you. Do we still have you?
All right, good, good. Can you guys hear me? Can you hear me, Benson?
I can. I can hear you.
Okay, good. So what I was saying before I got kicked off the internet again was, Privy. We've been using Privy for a few months, and we had several people tell us about Privy over the past 6 to 12 months, and we use several different softwares in our business every day, and I was a little reluctant because I'm like, all right, another software. I don't really have time to use another software, But a few people that I really respected in the business pulled me aside, like, hey, you really got to try out this software. The data is next level, and the insights you can gain is next level. So I started playing around with the software about 6 months ago, and I was actually pleasantly surprised at the data. So my motto is, "In God we trust; all others bring data." And it's really about how do you use data to make smarter decisions to close more deals at the end of the day as a real estate investor. And Privy is actually provides that data that allows you to really do more deals. So one of the main things Privy allows you to do is it allows you to track successful deal activity. So what makes a deal in your market, in your city? What does a successful fix and flip look like? Right? What is the average purchase price? What's the average ARV? How much are the cash buyers typically spending on repairs? That type of information is incredibly useful. I don't care if you're a wholesaler, if you're a fix and flip investor, if you're a landlord, having that data at your fingertips on what a successful deal looks like is very powerful. Um, Another thing Privy helped us do was decide on markets, right? What market should we invest in? Hey, we're in one market. Which market should we expand to? So what makes a deal in your area is going to show you what a deal looks like. And that's important because let's say you're talking to a seller, right? And when you talk to a seller, you can quickly say, hey, listen, what me and other investors like myself typically pay for houses in similar condition in this area is, let's say, for example, $350,000. Now, if any other investor comes in and says they can pay you $475,000 for a property in this condition, I'd be very wary of that offer because looking at the comps, this is what investors are typically paying, right? I can give you around that amount. I might be able to give you a little bit more, but that's what the data is showing, right? And that's powerful being able to have that conversation with a seller and knowing that data. And as you guys can see on the screen, me and my wife have our own television show. It's called 50/50 Flip. So our whole model is we flip houses in 50 days or less for 50K or less in renovation costs. And with that model, we have a buy box. So our buy box, our buying criteria is starter homes, less than the median price point for our area. I know Harold lives in this close proximity to us in North Carolina, so the median price point's around 250 to 300. So we try to stay less than that median price point. We prefer single family brick ranch style homes, under 1,200 square feet, 2 to 3 bedrooms, 1 to 2 baths. And the average ARV is 260,000, and our average purchase price is around 100,000. What you can do is you can go into Privy and you can actually reverse engineer that data. So you can input that data. Okay, what is the ARV I'm looking to target? What is the estimated repairs? And you can actually pull a list and pull properties that are on market that meet that type of criteria, right? So you can find those deals that are on market and off market. Benson's he's gonna walk us through the software and show you guys how to do that. So when you know your buy box, this allows you to recognize what's the deal. It also allows you to act faster. And you guys know in real estate, time is money. So if a deal comes across your desk, and you don't act on it quickly, guess what? If it's really a deal and it has meat on the bone, you better believe in a few hours of that same day, a true cash buyer is going to scoop that deal up, right? So having this data at your fingertips allows you to act faster on deals. I know Harold can relate to that. We've talked about that before. So in addition, it's going to help you choose what market you invest in. So we're in Burlington, North Carolina. It's about 30 minutes from Raleigh, Durham, 30 minutes to Greensboro, Winston-Salem, smack dab in the middle of North Carolina. And we've captured a large portion of the flipping market, especially with our TV show. We do quite a few flips every year. And we were kind of earlier this year, we were having trouble finding deals, right? Because it was an intense seller's market. Everyone's paying over asking price. We're having trouble finding deals. And because we were already doing a large number of active flips. So we started looking elsewhere, like, hey, where else can we buy? And what we did is we logged into Privy and we went to the fix and flip activity. So we put in Burlington, we said, okay, how many fix and flips have been done in Burlington in the last 12 months? The data shows there was roughly 100 fix and flips that have been done in this market. And guess what? We had done a lot of them, right? There you go. Benson's pulling it up on the screen right now. So the question was, which city should we look to find the additional fix and flip deals we need? Because for the TV show, we actually needed a certain amount of flips in order to pull off the show. So we're like, okay, should we look at Durham? Should we look at Raleigh? Should we look at Greensboro? Excuse me. And we ran the numbers in Privy, and we saw that in the last 12 months in Greensboro, there were 300 plus flips that had taken place. And this was in a matter of like 60 seconds. We were able to pull this data in Privy. So what it shows us is that there was 3 times the amount of flip volume in a city that's only 20 minutes away. So our logical next step was like, all right, we're kind of tapped out in Burlington. Let's start flipping in Greensboro because that's where the next closest opportunity is. And we wouldn't have had that data at our fingertips without using a software like Privy. So that data can give you a competitive advantage. Again, whether you're a wholesaler, whether you're doing fix and flips, or you're buy and hold, they have data on buy and hold comps, on rental comps, all that type of information. So Privy is going to help you find deals, right? It's gonna, if you're a wholesaler, it can help you as well if you're a fix and flip investor, if you're a landlord. So I just want to give that intro. Now, without further ado, I'm going to introduce Benson. So Benson is one of the founders of Privy. He's a real estate investor as well. In addition to being a real estate investor, he's also a licensed agent. So he's a realtor. So he understands the real estate game, not just from the investor's perspective, but also from the realtor's perspective. And he's going to break down and train us on some ways to use Privy so that you can find your first or your next real estate deal. So with that, I'm going to hand it over to Benson from Privy.
Thanks, Dedric. I appreciate it, man. Congrats on your guys' success. We had a chance to meet at the family mastermind, and you guys you were on that panel. I remember you guys are up there, you and Krystal, and was it Jamil Domar, and
Yep.
you were talking about some of your experiences and being in that space. I can only imagine what it's like to be on the other side of the camera all day, and showing your craft and teaching people. But it's really cool that you're able to do that, and obviously it's helping you too with deal flow, right? You're having people
Yep.
bring you deals now, and now you got this TV show. It's like your billboard. It's like, hey, we want your deals. We need those to flip. So
Yep. Absolutely.
congrats on all that.
Thank
Um,
you.
and also too, I appreciate the kind words, about Privy. One of the people that I think told you about Privy was Jamil, right? Um,
Yep.
and Jamil, you heard about him, his accident, and I actually was at his mastermind week before last, and he had some really cool, interesting branding for his mastermind, and this is one of the things he handed out to us. And I'm not sure this is showing backwards to everybody out there, but it says "Make your own luck." And it was a chess theme, and he handed out these chess pieces. And so real estate investing is a lot like playing chess. And it is because we want to think several steps ahead. A lot of investors and wholesalers who start off in the business, they get caught up on lead generation. And lead gen is what drives their daily activities, phone calls and skip tracing and lists and ringless voicemail and pay-per-click advertising and all those things that can really suck a lot of money and just is a big drain on the business, and it can definitely work. However, if you're more strategic about where you look for deals, you can make your own luck. You can help solve a lot of the problems that trip investors and wholesalers up down the line. You can solve those by simply doing a little bit of research, like Dedric was talking about earlier, and choosing the right markets. And choosing the right market is about thinking, are the ingredients that I need to be able to assemble a viable deal, are they present in that market? If you're wholesaling, are there buyers who are doing fix and flips? Are there landlords buying rental properties? Is the data that you need to be able to comp a property out and accurately determine the after repair value present in that market? And you can know a lot of that using the data. This is the Privy platform. We're looking at it right now. It's web-based. You can just operate it off of any device that has an internet connection. You don't have to install anything. It's actually really simple to use. We've got people who are in high school who are doing deals on their lunch breaks while they're in high school. We've got a couple, I was going to say octogenarians, but I think that's the way it goes. But like, we got a couple guys that are like 80 years old who are like reinventing themselves, and they're doing deals using Privy. So you're likely someplace in the middle, different experience levels, different ages, different backgrounds. Anybody can do deals. The data will make it a lot easier, because one of the things that I know from educators out there is a lot of really good systems and processes out there that will help you, you kind of move your business forward. But it's where the rubber meets the road is like, what's the deal in Burlington versus Greensboro versus Charlotte versus Atlanta? Like, it's all different. And the only way to know that is to actually go out there and do it, which can be expensive. Those are expensive lessons to learn, or look at the data. So right here on the map is our coverage map. This tells you where all of our data comes from. We have nationwide county record and public record data, which allows you to do some of the basics, like, research homeowners, find assessors info, find properties that are distressed, like foreclosures or vacancies or absentee owners. We have that kind of nationwide. Well, that's what most of our competitors have, that level of data. Where we separate ourselves from the competition is we go and we negotiate direct to MLS data contracts. So the same data the agents and appraisers use in their business to analyze properties, we're pulling into Privy in a raw fashion, and we're curating and making all that information useful for real estate investing activities, like running comps, searching for deals, tracking investment activity, and finding buyers. So the way we find the buyers is by coming over here to the left. And this is where we can track investment activity with a single button. It's basically like a preset filter. You can do those filters yourself right up here, but we wanted to just make this like really simple so that right out of the gates, you can just click one button and you can see on the map where the activity is located. So Dedric, we got a lot of blue here, right? Like, there's lots of areas where people are doing deals, but there's some obvious areas where people just aren't active at all, right? Like, rural areas, mountains, like those are places where some people are still spending time searching for deals, but they may not ever have any success because the comps aren't there.
Do not send me a deal in Pine Ridge Reservation.
There is not much going on down there. Right now, could you stumble into a deal in Pine Ridge Reservation? I think probably a persistent person who's got, consistency could find something there. But this isn't about just finding a single deal, right? This is about getting some consistency in your business, getting, consistent deal flow. You want predictability in your business, so you know what to spend your time and your money on. And so you want to avoid these areas where there's nothing going on. But then you start to get a little more information, like in the Midwest, where there's like, okay, well, there's blue here and there's blue here. Well, which one's better? Well, there's more activity happening like right up here in the Chicago area than there is in, say, South Bend, where Notre Dame is, right? There's some activity there, but Chicago's way hotter. I actually moved to St. Louis for 9 months because of the amount of investor activity that's located there from Colorado, because I believe in the data that much. I don't just talk about it. I actually live it. And so I moved there to get some deals done. If we go to North Carolina, where Dedric is, we can see here that there are lots of activity here. It looks like probably the highest amount of activities right in the Charlotte market. But and a close second is right around here. So if I drill down into this 21-24, that's going to break up, and then we're going to start to see more activity. So Dedric and Krystal right in this area, right? So it's right in between this pocket and then this pocket right over here in Greensboro. So this here, now that they've gotten comfortable with the fact that they can go outside their backyard because the data, now they're going to be able to find some viable deals here. So let's drill down on this pocket, right? So that's Greensboro. It looks like probably there's a hotter area right down in here. I don't know. Do you know anything about Jamestown and High Point?
Yeah, High Point. There's a lot of low priced properties in High Point.
Yeah, and low price properties means more buyers usually, right? Lots
Yep.
of activity, and you're talking about entry level homes, right?
I'm talking
First
about
time.
$20,000, $30,000 houses.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
crazy. So there's a hot pocket right there. But you and Krystal decided to be in this general market. So let's zoom in on that a little bit. and we'll get a little bit more clarity about what's going on here. And based off of the data itself, we can see that there's a really good pocket right in here. So just north of Spring Valley. And then over here on the left is an example of a house that was recently flipped. This right here on Swan Street, sold for 85 grand. This one went for 215. This one went for 155. So there's a range there from these different properties. But one of the things that is really helpful about Privy is being able to see the photos, and you can understand that, okay, this house looks like it's renovated, so it's representative of after repair value. And when we're evaluating homes, we want to lean on these houses that were renovated as an example of what a deal looks like. So this report right here that I just clicked into is called a comparative market analysis. This is something that I can build using my MLS access and my 20 years of experience and going in and building it. And it would take me probably a full day to build this, but Privy's actually building one of these for every single property in the US 24/7. And it updates live. And if you're in one of those direct to MLS areas, you're going to have these rich photos with these really good property descriptions, property features, the details of the home. And then down below that, we actually pull in the comparables. So comping is challenging. It's actually probably more of an art than it is a science. But Privy is automatically comping these properties out for you. And we have all of the standard settings right here, which is all 100% customizable. So if you wanted to adjust the square foot range, plus or minus, you can change that. If you want to maybe look at 2 stories as well as 1 stories, or, maybe you don't want to go back, a certain number of years from the construction date of the subject property, you have that ability to customize all of this. Dedric, have you had a chance to play with any of the settings and the CMA?
Yes, yeah, and as you mentioned, Vincent, running comps, like you said, is part art, is part science, right? There's no one exact way to do it. Of course, there's rules, plus or minus 200 square feet, similar beds, similar bathrooms. But again, this system makes it very easy. And most people don't have their real estate license. I mean, there's a large percentage that do, but if you don't have a license and you're trying to run comps, you want to be confident in the comps that you actually pull back. And this system allows you to quickly, like I said, 15% add the delta for square footage, put in the beds and baths, put in the criteria and run those comps. So you don't have to wait for a realtor to get back to you. It could be hours, it could be a day or two by the time they get back to you with the comps. And by that time, the deal's gone.
Oh yeah, time is money. And we don't get time to sit around and wait for people. And, a lot of us too, we're not doing this full time. So we get to do our business at nights and in weekends. And guess who's not available? Real estate agents. So you don't want to be dependent upon when an agent is available to get accurate numbers on your deals. And that's one of the major reasons why we built this. But the funny thing is that a lot of agents use Privy. Probably a good 15-20% of all of our clients are real estate agents, and they've got the MLS. But they realize that the MLS is not designed for real estate investing. So they use Privy to be able to automate the process, the tedious tasks of comping, tracking investment activity, finding opportunities, leveraging our deal finding algorithm. There's none of that is present in anyone's MLS. So a lot of investor friendly agents use Privy to help find the deals for themselves and for their clients. Now, down below that is one of my favorite sections of the CMA. And because this house is a flip, we actually put the side-by-side details of the transaction right here for you. So
I love seeing that before and after.
Oh, I know. I mean, this is like 50-50, right? Like this is the
That looks
dramatic
like
transformation.
a 50-50 flip. Yeah.
You're like, wait a second, did we do this deal?
And
Like,
I could just look, like just knowing the numbers at one, if they flip this 155, they had to buy it for between 40 and 60,000 in order to make the numbers work as far as the wholesale buy price. They pay 83. They overpaid for that. So a house like this that I'm selling for 155, I'm getting for about 40 to 50.
Yeah, they got it for 83. It was an on-market deal. They grossed 70 grand and they got it at 54% of the after repair value.
Right. But then you got to subtract out the repairs. I mean, just looking at this, they probably put a good 50,000 into it.
Yeah, and then you got realtor fees on top of that. That's another 6%.
Right.
This was
So
not a home run
yeah,
by
maybe they're
any
going off
means.
some margins. They're, yeah, hey, we'll make 15,000 on each one, but just do a lot of them.
Yeah, this is a volume play. If they were planning on this, there's a chance they got into it not knowing what their numbers were. Um, but over here's the timeline. So they actually were in and out of it fairly quickly. Um, they overpriced it because it was on market for 49 days, but it was 176 days from the day they bought it to when they put the check in the bank. So those timelines could be helpful for those of you out there that are trying to estimate carrying costs. Like there's if you get a hard money loan, or maybe even you pay cash, like there's costs that you have to consider, like utilities and insurance and security. All that stuff adds up, and if you don't know how long a project takes, or you think it's way shorter than it is, then that could severely cut into your profit margins at the end of the day. So then
Listen,
we
can you
can.
speak to if someone's looking to wholesale a
Mhm.
deal, what is the first, one or two things you would do in Privy?
Well, the market research is my first thing. So what I really want to understand is, what are buyers buying in a particular market?
Mm.
If I'm a wholesaler, the one that flipped this house is going to be my best friend, because I want buyers that are willing to pay up. Maybe they don't need to hit
Right.
a home run every time, but if they're doing 50 flips a year and they only have to make 10 or 15,000 per, and that's their business model, that's my best friend. I want to work with them. So right in here.
Absolutely. You link arms with this guy. If he's doing 50 of these a year, like you said, become his best friend, and you can sell him 15 of them and make 10,000 a pop. That yeah,
You're sitting
you're
pretty.
exactly right.
So right here, PGL Remodeling LLC is the company that flipped this thing. So PGL,
That's a new one. I never heard of those guys.
yeah, you should put them on your list. And if you come across
Absolutely.
a deal down in Greensboro in 27406, then they would likely be a buyer. And that's one of the other things that I do as a wholesaler, Dedric, is I learn the buy box of these flippers without even having to talk to them. So this house on
Mm,
Vance fits the buy box of this buyer. Now, is it all encompassing of what the full buy box is? No, but this is representative of at least one house that fits their buying criteria. And if I could
absolutely.
find another 2 bedroom, 2 bath, 816 square foot house in 27406, there's a chance that PGL would be interested in it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I learned that, and then I'm starting to take note of like these percentages too. So no one property is going to give me all the information I need to fully understand that particular market, but I know at least one buyer is willing to buy at 54% in this area. And so that's going into my mental Rolodex to know that, okay, 54%. But then I look at the next one. So I always tell people, look at the last 10 to 20 closed deals in a particular market, and that'll start to give you a really good sense of what's happening there. It's the education that you can't get from a book or a podcast or from a coach, is what a deal is in Greensboro in this neighborhood. This is how you learn that. So here's another deal. If I jump down to the section that says before and after, this one is interesting. Right here, this one was acquired off market. So Dedric, the last one that we were looking at, had an MLS ID here, and it had the photos. So we knew that was purchased from the MLS. This one it says public records, and it's got the street view. So no, we knew this was acquired directly from the seller. And then we can see
Mm.
that they bought this at 47% of the ARV.
And we say all they did was slap some white paint on it. That wasn't very creative. I'm sorry. I'm
No.
a rehab snob, being that I do this for a living.
Hey, they put shutters on too, man. Look, don't forget about those shutters.
They could have at least painted the door red or yellow.
Well, they painted it black. They got some okay hardware, but you're right. They didn't get too creative with the exterior of the home. Um, you know, the landscaping is just kind of whatever. It looks like,
This was a lipstick flip right here. This is just lipstick on a pig from the outside. I don't know what the inside looks like.
Well, let's check it out.
Nah, no, builder grade, Home Depot
Hmm.
cabinets, level one granite.
Level one. What is it? What does level one mean?
So as far as granite, there's three different levels of granite. Level one is the lowest level, the cheapest. That probably costs them $1,200 to put in. You got level two, and then you have level three is the highest quality granite. But again, looking at this, guys, you can kind of figure out what they spent on the rehab. They went strictly builder grade, everything, Home Depot Lowe's cabinet, level one granite. So, if I looked at a few more pictures, they probably spent, who knows, 40,000 on this rehab, if that. Um, so there's different levels. This is more like a rental grade rehab, but because of the market we've been in, where the market was so overpriced and oversaturated, it was a seller's market. Properties like this were selling left and right. Now, today, it's slowed down. It slowed down drastically. So we're in a
Mm,
different market now. But yeah,
yeah. One of the things that I notice something like this too is it helps me understand where the bar has been set for the particular neighborhood. Like maybe this is the best you can get in this neighborhood is builder grade and level one granite. And if you were to go to level three granite, maybe you couldn't get your money back out because the neighborhood doesn't support it.
good point. Good point. Yeah, you see where the bar is set, and then you also see, hey, if you want to jump over that bar and stand out, maybe you don't go level three, but you go level two. You spend a little bit more so you
Oh
can
yeah.
stand out and sell quickly.
Yep. And then down here, again, in the assessor section here, we can see who the current owner is. And we look at the property history. And it looks like this house was sold by Fred Garcia. So Fred um, is likely a mom and pop shop because they didn't even put this thing in anyone LLC. They just use their own name. They're a
Yep.
sole proprietor. So they're probably not going to be a high value target for me as a wholesaler because this is somebody who is not working it as a business likely. Now, like call Fred, I would if I had some extra time, but I'm going to call PGM first because they've taken the time to do the job in their LLC.
Great point there.
So
And guys, as we go through this, again, we want to make it interactive. So put your questions in the chat box, so we can make sure we address, exactly what you guys want to learn.
cool. So we don't want to get too much into the weeds here, but like I said, 10 to 20 properties in your target area. Start off high level. We did zero in on Greensboro because this is where Dedric and Krystal are operating. But there are areas all over the United States. So you want to be in those big blue areas where the big blue bubbles are at. That's the representative of the most activity. That's where you're going to have the most buyers. That's where you're going to have the most comparables. That's where you're going to be able to get all the stuff you need to be able to do a deal. Now, if you are, there's on market deals and there's off market deals. And so a good investor should be able to source deals from all different directions. But the key here is that you're going to be making sure you're targeting these areas right in here. So you're not going to want to go and pull lists of properties from Sunset Hills. There's just not enough up there. So you might be able to get a list of foreclosures that are in Sunset Hills. But even if you find a quote unquote motivated seller, somebody who's in a bad situation who wants to sell you their house, when you go to pull comps for that thing, you're not going to have any flips likely. So what that does to you is that now that since you don't have flipped houses that you can write an offer on, you have to low ball to make the numbers work. So let's say, for example, we were just in that, let's say we're up in Sunset. Okay. In Sunset, maybe all the houses that are in that neighborhood are selling for 100 grand. Okay. And say we've determined that we need to be at, say, 50% of the after repair value for the numbers to work. Well, if there was a flip in Sunset where they bought it for 100 and then sold it for 200, well, now we can do 50% of 200,000. We could offer them 100 grand, basically what they want based off of its as is condition, and everyone's happy. But if that flip doesn't exist, well, we have to do 50% of 100,000. And now we're often 50 grand on a house. And this is why sellers get pissed. This is why they get offended because people are lowballing because the wholesalers are going in there and they're just running numbers. And they
There's no
didn't
data.
target the right area.
Yeah. Yeah, and there's no data to support that ARV in that neighborhood.
Exactly. And even if you could get that property now under contract at 50 grand, now you're going to go and market that thing. Well, who's going to buy it? Right? There's not very many buyers up here in Sunset. Could you get somebody from down here to maybe say, yeah, I'll do a deal up in Sunset if the numbers make sense, but you're going to have a fewer number of buyers. But if we pull lists of deals from down in here, we're going to have a lot more buyers. We're going to have the data to be able to prove ARV. We're going to be able to submit higher offers that have a higher chance of being accepted for the simple reason that we chose the right area to look, right? This goes back to make your own luck, right? If you choose the
Yeah,
right area, you will be able to create your own luck.
I think it goes to my grandfather from South Carolina. He said, "Fish where the fish are at." That's what you got
Yeah.
to fish where the fish are at.
Yeah. And it's so funny that we know this to be true and we're talking about it, but ultimately tomorrow, most people are going to go out and they're going to look for deals where they live just because that's what's convenient. Even if there's no fish in your neighborhood, you're going to go fish there because it's close, right? That's what people are going to do. So a lot of this is just kind of rewiring your brain and changing your perspective on what to do. And eventually it just starts to click. And so like if you are a Privy user, we do this live training twice a week and we've got lots of on-demand training. And so that will help to solidify that rule in your brain about choosing high investor activity areas.
Benson, we have a question in the chat from Chad Gibbs. He
Mm-hmm.
asks, who are Privy's main competitors?
Probably PropStream and Batch Leads, two great platforms. But earlier when I was showing that map and you saw the blue areas is where we've got that direct to MLS. And then where you saw the gray and the yellow was what I call like PropStream level data. It's like I said, it's okay in a pinch, but it isn't going to be the most accurate, up-to-date information that you can use to analyze properties and find deals. So they're probably our two main competitors. But honestly, too, a lot of people don't want to spend any money on their business, so they go out and they use like Zillow for comping properties or looking for deals. And those websites out there, they're not designed for real estate investing either, and they're certainly not designed for comping. So the our comping algorithm is built on that MLS foundation and uses the exact same practices and criteria that an agent or an appraiser would use, but it's all automated. It's all automated. And it happens um, in a fraction of a second. One of the other things that we are able to do is show you agents that are active investors or investor friendly agents like Tim here. Tim is an investor friendly agent. And that's one of the things that I first did when I went and targeted in St. Louis is I wanted to find boots on the ground. So I looked at the agents that were representing flippers. So like this house right here, this one was flipped. And down here at the bottom of that CMA is Alejandra. I don't know if I'm going to butcher this last name here. Adrave. So Alejandro Adrave is an investor friendly agent, and we can infer that they are investor friendly because they represent a fix and flipper. And it's not easy to become an agent who a fix and flipper will do business with. You have to earn their business.
What was the purchase price on this one, on that one? What the investor buy for?
Let's check it out.
So it sold for 177. I always want to know the purchase price. And you know
Yeah.
why, guy, as an investor, you have to be nosy. I want to know what everybody paid for their house. Why? Because I'm like, okay, I could have wholesaled that. Now they paid 105. If I would have got to that seller and locked it up for 90, I could have sold it to that cash buyer at 105. You have to look at every single property like that. All right, how could I have gotten to that seller and been the guy, get it on the contract for 85, 90, and could have made 15, 20 grand without doing any rehab?
Mm-hmm. Yep. And this was an off-market deal. So they got it for 59% of the ARV. This one is about as the same numbers as that first one we looked at.
Yep.
Remember, the numbers were very much similar. I think theirs was at 58%. It came from the MLS. So, you can find good deals on the MLS, you guys. You just have to have a better strategy. The going and finding deals on the MLS works well in a high investor activity area. But you're not going to find any good MLS deals in Dodge City or Hayes, Kansas, or Sioux Falls, South Dakota, because there's just not enough investor activity there to make this strategy work. So um, there's just way too many benefits for targeting these areas. Now, if I wanted to pull a list to go and target and do some off-market marketing, then I come down here into the filter and I can pull lists of like absentee owners, vacancies, foreclosures, tired landlords, uh, multiple years of ownership, zombie properties. So you can get really creative on the kinds of lists that you want to pull. And we allow you to pull 10,000 records per month with your normal Privy subscription. We don't add any other cost on top of that. It's all free.
Wow, 10,000 records a month. That's a lot.
It is. It is. I mean, probably average person can handle maybe up to 1,000 leads effectively before you start dropping balls. But 10,000, it is a lot. So the next thing is, okay, are there any deals here? Now, I just showed you how you can find some off-market deals, and that process is a little bit more complex because you would export that into a CSV file. You'd likely would take that and go and skip trace it, put it in your CRM, and then you're gonna have to start, mailing or doing some activities to generate those leads. Those are there's some costs involved in doing that. Or you can look for on-market leads. So right here, we have this button that says find similar active deals. And what that does is it takes all of these closed deals and it uses it as a model for what a successful deal looks like. And then it reverse engineers it. So I'm going to click that button. Now Privy's going in, it's pulling comps on all the properties in these areas. And it's showing us homes that we can buy right now. Now I'm going to adjust the filter because the template filter, the default, starts at 75% of the ARV or lower. But let's go ahead and lower this. So where should we put this so we can
Well, yeah, I
find
was
a
just gonna
viable
say that
deal?
one, the first one that popped up, I own a property like the next street over, and I was like, that's overpriced. We gotta lower that ARV. So yeah, let's put it like, yeah, 58 sounds about good.
Okay. Do you have a purchase price you want to stay under?
Let's say under 350.
Okay. So we got a bunch of ways here for people to customize their buy box. So you can change the purchase price, you can change the percentage of ARV. Like if we were looking in, I don't know, let's say Los Angeles, like we could have this up to like 75% and the numbers would work. But
Yeah,
this is a market where we need to be lower, and the data is telling us that.
yeah. If you're in LA, or I know Brian Connor's in Pacific Northwest, Seattle, Boston, those high price markets, you can push the ARV up. But yeah, when you're in like middle America type markets like North Carolina, St. Louis, you bring that
Mm-hmm.
ARV
Yep. And so this is going to show us what's available today, but there might not be anything right now. So we have the ability to save this search and create an email alert every time something's found that matches your deal criteria, and it'll just email you. And you can get alerts up to every hour. And you can have multiple. So you can have a search for, say, Greensboro, and maybe you're interested in Tampa, and maybe you want to buy rental properties in Dallas. So you could set different filters here. This is for the fix and flip, which would be sufficient for like a fix and flip or a wholesale deal. But we also have a long-term rental filter where you can look for properties that you can buy, keep as rentals, and look at things like cash on cash return and cap rates and gross yield.
down.
So let's go ahead and run this at 58 and see what we come across. So 169 is the purchase price in that one, 189.79.
Hmm.
It's a 2-1, so it's a small house, only 837 square feet. There were a couple that we looked at earlier that were similar to these. Here's their interior pictures.
Looks like a newer roof. The inside is going to have to be pretty much redone fully. So again, I'd say a full renovation on that is probably about 60,000,
Do you
given the
are you
square
picking a
footage.
ballpark number, or do you do a price per square foot?
More so price per square foot on what we've done houses that size for. And this is electrical, plumbing, HVAC, new roof, new windows, new kitchen, bathroom, flooring, paint, all the big stuff.
Everything. Yeah. So this one here is interesting because we this is down the street from two flips. So this one was flipped and it's pending. for 150.
They paid 16 grand for that one.
That's
That's
pretty
crazy.
nice.
Yeah.
And then this one is sold, and it sold for 155. And they got theirs for 83 grand. Oh, that's the one we're looking at.
That's the Vance Street one. Yeah.
That's the Vance Street one. So this Fred, or is this the PNG guys?
That's the PGL one.
PGL. Just trying to remember. Yeah, PGL remodeling. So PGL was willing to go up to, 52%. So they would likely go up to around 83,000 if the numbers make sense. So we could actually write an offer on this for, say, like 65, get her under contract at 65. Maybe we have to negotiate up to 70. And PGL would likely be a buyer for this if we wanted to dispo it to them, because it's the exact match of a house they just did.
Yep. That's called reverse wholesaling. That's exactly how you would do it.
That's how you do it. So this is something that could be viable. What would you offer on this one?
You said what would the offer be on this one?
Yeah, what would you offer on this?
Yeah, I would say 60 grand.
60 grand.
Just try to
1511 Bellevue Street.
you never know. You never know. A lot of people negotiate with themselves. You never know what the seller's going through. You know, if they
Yep.
might be in financial difficulty, how quickly they need to sell. So I would say shoot your shot.
Yeah, you never know. And you got to take action. So if you you'll lose 100% of the offers you don't submit. So
Yep.
right over here to the right too is the rental comps. So maybe this one makes more sense from a cash flow perspective than it does from a fix and flip. So I can switch over to rentals, and now this is showing us the rental comps, and we can see that these range from 1,050, 850, 795 on the lower end. But something that's like this one right here, 950, we can open these comps up, and then we can see what condition the rental comp is in to understand like what grade it's at. So this is low, right? That kitchen was poor.
Yeah.
That
I don't see how that's rent for 950. Well, from the outside, the inside is not that much better. Is
yeah,
yeah,
it's
old
not great.
roads.
But this is NC Rentals. So this data comes from property management companies.
Mm,
So we have a newer data source, Dedric, for rental comps. So we have over 130 million rental data points that at any given time, and it all
nice.
comes through in this feed here. So if you are looking to build a portfolio, you can leverage this data to make sure that your properties are in a cash flow. Or if you're wholesaling, don't forget about the largest buyer pool out there. The largest buyer pool is not flippers, it's landlords.
Yep.
So it's about 10-1. It's
And a
even
lot of times they're willing to pay more than fix and flip investors. Why? Because they're not looking for a quick flip. They're holding this long term, so they don't need to make 80 grand in 8 months. They're trying to make 200 grand over the next 20 years.
exactly. You took the words right out of my mouth. They're just, oh, look at right here, Benson.
Oh, there you go.
No, Benjamin Benson. Interesting. So yeah, so do you guys don't sleep on landlords being part of your buyer pool. You can go into Privy and pull buyers by looking at actually the owners of those other homes. But we also, in the filter, we have a filter right here for absentee owners. That's another name for landlords, and there's going to be a bunch of them here. So they will pay a higher percentage of ARV because they don't need to realize all of their gains right at the point of selling that property. They're going to, they want a deal too, but they might buy it 90%. I mean, Dedric, back a couple of years ago when hedge funds were buying, they were buying at 100%.
Yeah, absolutely.
So this one is decent. This is a potentially viable deal. It's an offer to get out, right? And that's the hard part too about going direct to seller. Like you're lucky to go and get a seller on the phone where you can even have a conversation about making an offer. You're leaving voicemails and you're knocking on doors and you're not talking to people usually. But with on market, they want to sell the house. You
Right.
know how much they want to sell it for. All you have to do is just find a price that's a win-win for everybody.
And guys, like again, with the way the market is right now, 8% interest, millions of people have gotten priced out of the market where they can't qualify for a mortgage because interest rates are so high. The buyers have gone missing. So when you come in with an offer, listen, it's not as much competition as it was a year ago, right? Where everybody and their mother was trying to buy a house. So you have a much higher likelihood of getting these deals.
Yep. So this one right here, 83, it's got the same comps because very homogeneous neighborhood. A lot of these houses are the same 2 bedroom, 1 bath ranches. And that's a great thing too about,
Yeah,
choosing a city center is that like you have a lot of houses that are the same. If you
right.
look
And
for houses and farmland, like everything's different.
so once you learn the numbers, Benson, like I'm sure it's the same in St. Louis and Denver. Once you get those numbers and like, all right, this is the ARV, this is how much they typically spend in repairs, and this is what I need to get it for, you can make a decision in seconds. So as soon as you see a deal, all right, yep, I could pay 50 for that one. I could pay 120 for that one. And again, that's powerful being able to make a buying decision or make an offer within minutes or seconds. That's going to get you a lot of deals.
Oh yeah. Yeah. The data definitely helps and it becomes intuitive. I always like to are you a football fan?
Yeah, oh yeah, huge football.
So I always think about like when rookies come out and they're just drafted and they're playing some of their first games and when they're talking to these guys, they're always like, everything's moving so fast, right? Because they're thinking about their feet and their footwork and they're thinking about their arm motion and they're trying to watch the defense. They have to know like where the receivers are going to be and what the blocking scheme is. And so everything's just going crazy, right? And then like year 2 and 3, they talk to these same quarterbacks and things are starting to work for them. And they're like, well, what's going on? They're like, well, everything's slowing down, right? I don't have to
Mm,
think about my feet anymore. I know where my arms will be. I know my receivers are going to be where they're supposed to be. And now all I have to do is just watch the defense.
that
And
is a
so
great
that's
analogy. Yeah,
that's what happens in real estate, right? Like you don't have to think about comping and all these little levers and buttons you got to push. Like it starts to become really intuitive.
yeah. And it comes from repetition. Right? The more deals you comp, the more properties you look at, the more offers you make. That's how you get to that proficiency level where things start to slow down.
Absolutely. Cool, guys. So, I wanted to give you a high level, and we did get in the weeds on some things because we really wanted to drive home some of the most important points. Um, but with Privy, we're going to be able to help you find the best areas to invest. We're going to help you do your local market research so you can become an expert in your niche. You'll know what people are buying properties for, what they're selling them for, the percentage of ARV. You'll be able to build a really strong buyers list if you're doing wholesale. If you're an agent, well, you can see who all the active flippers are and you can get some deal flow there as well. And then using the algorithm, you can go in and just set a simple filter. Privy will go in and analyze all those properties for you, and then it'll send you viable properties that you can write offers on every single day, and all for zero marketing. Zero marketing. You don't have to be a salesperson. So everybody should recognize what they're good at and what they're not good at, and sales is not easy. It's hard to get someone to know, like, and trust you in a 3-minute window and then get them to tell you that they're willing to sell their house and then convince them to sell you their house at a price where everybody wins. Like that's hard to do. Right. And I don't know, Dedric, are you guys doing a lot of calling right now and with lead gen, or are you focusing on the construction side of things, or both?
Oh, I think I was muted. Yeah, we do both.
Yeah. So you guys have your hands full with all of the acquisition and then making sure the project's right as well. Um, that's awesome. This
And
is
acquisitions, that's my favorite part of the business.
is it okay?
Is getting, but I got 20 plus years sales experience, right? Most
Right.
people, like, it's not easy. Most people don't have that type of sales experience. So a good thing would be to do, if you don't like sales, don't like talking to people, partner up with someone that loves talking to people, that likes building rapport and connecting, and work the business that way.
Absolutely. All right, you guys. Well, I'm going to go ahead and start to wrap this up. Go ahead and put your questions in the chat if you have any final. I know we've been answering some of these along the way, but I
Yeah.
do want to give everybody here who maybe isn't privy to Privy just yet an opportunity to get access to the tool. So we did put together a special offer for anybody who's coming in, who's part of Dedric and Krystal's community. So
What
let
we
me just
got for them, Benson? What type of special offer we have? Tell us about it.
oh yeah, let me just get my screen back here. What am I trying to do?
And we do have a couple questions in the chat.
Okay, let's see what are some of those questions. I'll answer those as I'm bringing this up.
So we got one from Brian Connor. He said, "Would I use Privy in concert with the app like Deal Machine or PropStream that has driving for dollars functionality, or does Privy have something like this as well? Trying to consolidate tools."
Mm. Yeah, we don't have anything that's specifically for driving for dollars. Um, but driving for dollars is just one way of generating leads. So with the strategy I showed you guys tonight, you'll have enough leads to where you won't necessarily have to go out and drive for dollars anymore. Driving for dollars is one way of doing that. But you can take your phone, go out into the field, and if you see a house that looks like it's run down and you want to, see who the owner is, you can pull it up on your phone. You can run comps on it on your phone. You just type the address in, and it will analyze that property for you, build a comparative market analysis. So a lot of our users, people who use Privy, have kind of moved on from the driving for dollars scenario. But it's up to you. If you still like to be out in the field and you like that grind out there, then you can definitely use Privy to help with that. Um, all right, cool. So we were kind of going through and we talked about several different strategies. And what I tell people about Privy is that it's exit strategy agnostic, meaning whatever your exit strategy is, Privy will help you accomplish it. So if you're doing fix and flip or buy and hold, or you're doing wholesaling, or if you're doing creative deal structure like seller financing or subject to, or if you're some offshoot of any of those, like an agent, or maybe you are a lender, or you're a title company. We got lots of people who use Privy for different scenarios, but it's mostly around the data. All different experience levels. So if you've never done a deal before, we can help you do your first deal. If you have been around for a while and you're looking to maybe find a new market, like the Polites are, then we'll help you find that new market and understand it quickly. And then, of course, it's going to come down to your commitment level. So if you are motivated and you want to get deals done, we're going to help you get all the data you need to be able to analyze any property, feel confident in those numbers, and then take action. So there's just a couple of people who are using Privy. Dedric was telling us earlier how him and Krystal have leveraged it. This person right here is Christian Chase. He's an investor and an agent, 25 years of experience in the Chicago market. And then in the last, actually total, it's over a year now, but he's closed over 300 properties that he found on Privy using the exact same strategy that I showed you guys tonight by reverse engineering it. So finding the hot investor activity areas, turning the algorithm on, and then those leads just show up in his inbox and his team's inbox so they can take action. And they keep some of them, they give some of them to their clients as well. Mahmoud Isa is a wholesaler. He's based out of San Francisco, and he's doing stuff virtually in the Tampa market. And when I had talked to him on with this deal here, I actually interviewed him. He had done over $600,000 in assignments in under a year. 600K in just assignments, not total volume of houses, the amount of money they put in the check, or the checks they put in the bank. Michelle, her and her business partner and her, I think, life partner, Paul, they travel the world and they do virtual wholesaling. They do almost 100% with no marketing, on market deals. And she had sent me a text some time back that she had found her largest assignment deal ever on Privy, and it was a 30K deal. I think it was in Colorado Springs, and she was pretty excited about that one. But they're having
Yeah.
lots of success too. Do you know Michelle?
Um, I've heard her name, but don't know her directly.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Her and Paul are killing it.
nice.
Um,
Excellent.
so
Well, good.
oh, sorry. Um, so I showed you guys a systematic approach. It's going to save you a ton of time. It's going to minimize your risks. It's going to help you get more deals done. But one of the coolest side effects of using Privy, you guys, is the confidence. When you understand your numbers, when you understand what a deal is, when you can understand the after repair value and calculate a good offer, you're going to start to take action. You're going to start getting those offers out there, and they're going to stick. So it's definitely a numbers game. But if you're not confident in the values and what a deal is, you won't take action. And that's one of the biggest benefits that Privy will help you do. So Privy right now, if you were to go to the website and you wanted to buy Privy, over a full year, you'd pay over $1,788 for the access to the platform. But if you use the promo code POLITE, we're going to bring that all the way down to $1,252 for the year. And you're going to get access to our team for live training. We have on-demand training. Um, Christian does all the training. It's twice per week, Mondays and Thursdays. He'll be able to help you, hold your hand, answer your questions. Use promo code POLITE. Now, if the timing isn't right to invest in the tool for the year, then you can still get Privy for 20% off of your first month. That'll bring it down to $119 for that, and then it'll be the full price of $149 per month after that. But you'll always have the opportunity to upgrade to the annual plan at whatever the best deal is at that time period. So two options here, annual or monthly. In both cases, you do have the opportunity to get that live training with our team so that you're not left hanging. And then the promo code is just POLITE. So it's POLITE.
Yep, I dropped a link in the chat. I don't know if everyone can see that. Looks like it's just hosts and panelists. Could you drop that the link in the chat, Vincent?
Yes, I
And then
will.
it's promo code POLITE. Guys, this is a great value. I look at things like this again. In God we trust, all others bring data. You're gonna get some of the best data and intelligence you can get on the market from this platform. And I always look at it like this: if this can help you close one deal, even if it's not a fix and flip where you make 50 grand, if it's a wholesale deal, we make 15 grand, and you spent 1,200 bucks on software for the year, it pays for itself 10 times over. So it's definitely worth it.
Absolutely. That's how I view it too. And, closing a deal, but let's not forget about all the other things that come with it, like the time savings, being able to, run your own comparables, detach yourself and having to rely on other people, and just really being in control of your business. This is an investment into your business. It's an investment into your financial future. And when you are going and like Dedric, and they're going to go do a renovation on a house, and they got to go and hammer nails, they're not hammering it with a screwdriver, right? They're using a really nice hammer, or maybe they have an automatic hammer with the air guns, right? Maybe they're using that.
Yep.
They're using the right tools for the job. So don't cut corners where you could actually get better results by just doing things the right way, right? Avoid going to random websites and cutting corners and just hustling your face off to save a penny, when with a small investment in your business and in yourself, you'll get way better results, and you'll shorten your learning curve, and that deal that you're chasing will come faster.
Absolutely. And just to add to that, guys, get some coaching, get some training. I love that Benson and the team at Privy, they do tons of training. What is it, twice a week you guys do training calls?
Yep.
Probably more than that. Tell them about the training and the support that they get when they sign up on how to use the software.
Yeah, so there's live training that you can come to, and it's a live Q&A, so you can put your questions in there and they'll answer them directly. There's a lot of on-demand training. So if you're one of those people that just likes to watch videos, you can, find all the answers there. And then you can email our support team. So support@privy.pro, and people can help you there as well. And then there's a community, right? So we've got a Facebook page where people go and hang out. And then there's other, places like on social media where people are posting links to different trainings and videos and stuff. So you will have all the support you need to get the maximum value out of your investment into the tool.
Excellent, excellent. Anybody got any final questions? If you got any final questions, feel free to put in the chat. If you learned something tonight, put a one in the chat. If you learned something new, put a one in the chat.
Well, I know I learned a couple things from you.
Thank you,
So
Benson. I
I'm
definitely
putting
learned
my
some
one in
stuff
there
from you.
too.
Seeing a bunch of ones in there. And just before we wrap up, guys, I want to let you guys know that Krystal and I started a new coaching program, really out of a need. A lot of people have been asking us over the years, how do we get into real estate investing? And how we actually got into it was through wholesaling houses. So we created something called Polite Wealth Portal that we recently launched, and it's showing people basically step by step how to get into wholesaling houses. So we got into the business wholesale houses because we didn't have a lot of cash when we first got started. We didn't have much prior experience, but we wanted to make some money to start building our portfolio of rentals. So we wholesaled a bunch of houses our first few months. That made us cash buyers, and we started buying rental properties, renovating them, keeping them long term. And then we got kind of discovered by the television network, and then we started flipping. A lot of people don't notice we didn't start flipping until we actually got the TV show, because a lot of the properties we would renovate, we'd actually hold as long term rentals. We weren't selling them. The first ones
Mm,
that we started to sell was on national TV. But I say that
that's
because if
awesome.
anyone's interested in actually getting some coaching and some mentorship, it's a 16-week program, and we're also going to be, teaching people how to use Privy, how to leverage, different software tools that we use every day. I would highly recommend setting up a call with our team, and seeing if you're a good fit for our coaching program as well.
Awesome. And how do they find that?
They can just email us or DM us. Everyone on here pretty much knows how to get in touch with me. So
Okay.
just email me, DM me, and if you're watching this on a recording, I'll put a link to that training video, or that page in the description, where you can look at the training video. And then again, if you think it's a good fit, you can set up a call with our team to learn more and decide whether or not it's something you want to join.
Awesome. Well, that's exciting. Congrats on the new coaching program as well, along with
Thank
everything else that you guys are doing. That's awesome. It's hilarious about, that you were doing some of your first flips in front of everybody at the same time. That
you.
must have been pretty stressful.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it was exciting because you couldn't make a mistake. The whole world, national TV seeing you. So, but we made it happen though.
Oh yeah, that's exciting, man. Well, thank you so much for having me. Appreciate everybody hanging out with us for a little bit. Hopefully, you learned a few things. Maybe change your paradigm. There's a lot of things that we showed you tonight that you can implement in your business right out of the gates. But a lot of it's going to be way easier if you use the Privy tool. So just let us know how we can support you.
All right. Thanks, Benson. All right. Have a good night, everybody.
Bye, everyone. Take care.